Good morning, everybody. Right, we've had the van a day now. We got it yesterday, as you know, if you're following the channel. Today we're going to do a few jobs on it. We can't go anywhere. As you know, lockdown is on, or tier 3 we're in, so we can't go and camp overnight. If you're watching this in the future, tier 3 was something to do with the coronavirus. Ask your granddad. Anyway.
Great granddad, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, when we got the van home yesterday, we obviously had a nosy round in our own leisure, and none of the electrical items were working in the habitation area. Corona cough. Yeah, so none of the habitation electrics were working. Now, for total newbies, if you imagine your vehicle as two entities, you've got your normal van, which has got your starter battery, which powers all your outside lights, you know, your windscreen wipers, etc. Ignore that battery. You've also then got what they call a habitation battery, which powers your, in this case, fridge, lights, you know, bits and bobs that are 12 volts. And then it gets charged off a solar panel if you've got one, or an onboard charger, etc, etc. And that's how it works. Well, basically, when we got back, nothing worked on the habitation side, but obviously on the engine side, everything worked because we got back. So, because I've got a rough idea of what I'm doing, having done this for years, it pointed to a fuse gone, which was highly unlikely because we'd got nothing, and I couldn't see lights and pump and everything working off the same fuse. So, checking the battery itself, excuse me, camera wobble, I haven't bothered bringing my stand. Yeah, checking the battery itself, I found quite a shocking, pardon the pun, state of affairs, which I'm going to show you now. Does that in a minute, watch. Okay, so here is the leisure battery. This is an Elddis CV20. Your battery will be somewhere. If you've got a, you know, a leisure battery, you'll find it. It's not exactly hard to find. This is under the bed on the driver's side. So what we've got, you can see all the cables coming in from the solar panel, from the onboard charger, and also going out to, you know, feed the stuff, feed the fuse box, etc. So the shocking thing, here is the positive terminal. This was actually off. Well, not off, but very loose. There is no nut on the end of the bolt, so clearly hadn't been tightened up. I'm going to find presumably the nut somewhere in the bottom. If not, then it's not been put on. The negative terminal, again, it's got a nut on, but it's loose. None of these battery tops were on. They just sat there like that. And the battery holding case, which is a metal frame that holds it down, isn't bolted down. It's got a nut on that side, which hasn't been done up, you can see. And then on the other side, under the cables, you can't see, but I can't pull them out of the way enough. But basically, there is no nut, so this is not fastened in at all, and the battery is loose. Now,
that's the inline fuse.
What's the inline fuse? Yeah. Well, yeah, these are inline fuses for, obviously, for the cables to protect the, you know, the circuits. Anyway, so I can sort of forgive them for this in a way. You've all been at work and had a phone call and got waylaid, but this vehicle, really brand new, should have been PDI'd by the dealer, and it hasn't, and I think that is pretty poor, to be honest. So anyway, first job we're going to do before we can actually do anything that we want to do is rectify this ourselves. People would say, oh, why don't you take it back to the dealer? It's not their problem. You know, the thing is, it's a 100-mile round trip for us. We've sent the dealer a video of this and an email saying, look, you know, we'll rectify it, but we're not happy. We're just thinking of people who have no idea, because there's a lot of people who've never done this before. You'd get home and you'd be panicking straight away. What have I done? Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I'll rectify it myself, but poor dealership, really, that.
Yeah, I think you've got to say that the build is the poor.
Well, the build is the poor, yeah, but like I say,
it should have been
the dealership should have checked this. You know, they haven't PDI'd it. So anyway, I'll rectify it, and then we'll crack on with another job. And I'll go through what I'm actually going to do with this, because I'm going to change the solar panel eventually and update the electrics, but for now...
Solar panel, charger.
Solar charge controller, sorry. But for now, we will leave it as it is and just rectify this. Right, so I've got the battery out of the battery box. There are no spare nuts floating about unless they've dropped into the corners here, which I'll obviously find out one day when there's a rattling noise that gets on my nerves. There's a hole in the floor, you can probably see down there. That would be where your battery vent pipe goes. This battery is an AGM battery. I'm guessing that they don't vent. If they do, there's no vent on it, so that'll be a complaint, but I can't see a venting tube anywhere. So I'll Google to see if an AGM battery needs to vent or doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to change the battery connector while I'm doing it. You'll see I've took the old one off with the missing nut. I've got a quick release one here. This doesn't need a bolt in it. You basically hinge it up like that, it disconnects, and then it locks down like that and makes the connection. It's just a good way of quickly pulling your terminal off. If you have some massive electrical issue, you can quickly release that. So I'm going to swap that one over. Right, there we go then, that's neatened up now, so it's all clamped in. I've tidied the wires up, I've rerouted them so they look a bit neater, and we're all good to go. Alright, just a second quick job. The van's got lovely carpets in it, which we'd love to keep down. Unfortunately, we have two hairy hounds, one of them being a Labrador, which loves to go through mud and everything in the world. So we're going to take these up and store them. Unfortunately, don't want to get all grim on you, the Labrador's very old now. So yeah, said enough about that. That's a bit upsetting, but you know what I mean. So we're going to take the carpets up and store them until they're not going to get as muddy. So I have some rubber matting. I was hoping to get both pieces out of this, but unfortunately I won't, but I'll be able to do something. This is the most important part anyway, by the sliding door, because that is where yon Labrador will lie. So I'm going to cut that out and put that down. There we go then, this is the rubber matting down. You've probably seen it out of sequence. I managed to get the back section just enough. There's a slight gap at the back. I hadn't got enough to finish that, but the dog bed's going to go there anyway for the little dog, Poppy. So that's not too bad. And anyway, even if we come in and out through the back doors, we'll put a little welcome mat there or something. So that was as good as I could get it. I'm quite happy with that. Carpets are now hiding upstairs under the bed. Right, so the next little job we're going to tackle, you actually get a table supplied in the van, which I'll show you in a minute. It's a freestanding one, lives behind the driver's seat, and then you drop it between the beds when you want to eat. But it's very low, I've got very long legs, and it's also a bit big, so we're going to do two little table ideas. The round one's going to go at the back, and the little square one is going to go in front of the sliding door as a sort of bit of a worktop extension, but also for when someone is sitting on the passenger swivel seat and the other one's in bed or whatever, they've got a table. Right, so you can see behind the driver's seat there, that's where the freestanding table sits. I'll stick that up now and show you how it's no good for us. I'm sure it's good for little tiny borrowers, but not for us. So as you can see with my glamorous assistant there, that's how the table sits. So I've got to try and it's a bit low anyway, obviously, but we have known people put a block of wood under it to pick it up. But obviously you can see where the leg is there. I've got to try and squeeze my legs in there
without tipping over dinner.
Yeah, and it's just point. Then we've got to put it away.
My glass of cider. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just it's a bit awkward. We're not going to use it, so we're gonna swap it out. Here we see an engineer at work. Man Maths is just drop it in the middle and say that looks about right. Heather Maths is no, we have to measure it. Look at this, look. Can't believe it, look. There's a mark in the middle that says it's centre, and now she's still measuring. I don't know. You need a set of man eyes.
So I did the brains bit, and now here's the brawn.
I always do the screwing. Don't be rude. You don't
But
need...
obviously for the female fans,
Oh, well, you know.
like you say.
It's only a little screw. Go on, turn that rubbish off.
As you can see, that's all screwed in. Are you going to show the people how the post fits onto it?
We'll do that when we're in the van.
Okay, boss.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you find out. They run a cable under the floor.
So Rick's just put a tiny little pilot hole in, because we'll show you in a minute the size of the screw.
It's a fat one.
It's quite a stubby, fat little screw, and if you don't put yourself a little pilot hole, there's a possibility that as you screw them in, your screws will go wonky as you're putting them in, and you definitely don't want a wonky screw.
Wonky. Oh, God.
Okay, so as you can see, we've chosen a position. It does have a cover that Rick's going to show you now that you can put on when you haven't got the table in, so that it looks nice and neat. We'll take that cover out.
And then,
right, so
you have an end with a twisty thing on.
Oh, sorry.
Can you see that?
Right, yeah.
So you've got an end with a twisty shaped thing on it that goes in there. Find the position, twist it round like that, and then locking ring like that.
The other thing you've not shown people is the little metal bit that you can't see now, can you?
Oh, the little metal. Well, there's a little retainer there, look, that just clips under your table. And we push down. Now I can get my legs under.
There we go, my glamorous assistant.
There you go, where's my dinner? That's it, one done.
And just so that people do know, we have had the plates that we're going to use in the van.
Oh, we've tried them.
On there. So, you know, there's none of this not being able to get them both on and having them nice and level and this sort of thing. So
there you go. Right, so this little table is going to go across here under the plug sockets.
Well, we assume so because we don't think that they...
Well, it's going to anyway. You don't want it above the plug sockets, do you? So that would be silly. So you've got to cut this piece of metal to size. I'm Sean Connery. Shocking. You're going to cut this to size, and then clippies, blah blah. Show you how it works in a minute. Right, so the bracket goes like that, with the ends on and the centre, and then you've got to cut it so it sits like that.
Because that bit goes inside.
Yours. Right, so that is the bracket screwed onto the little square table. The very astute of you will notice that they're actually cocked off to the side. Simple reason behind that is when it sits there centrally, because of that edge there, you can't get them to sit right. You'll see what I mean when I put the bracket on. Right, so the bracket's going to go like that, and I know there's going to be a lot of people going, oh man, he's screwing screws into a brand new van, you know, I'd never do that. The thing is, what you've got to realise, in my opinion anyway, is we've bought this to use. You know, people who, it's like, you know, when you buy a car and you put seat covers on or something, and then, well, the seats will look new when I sell it. So what? When you sell it, you don't really care, do you? Well, I don't. You know, I'm not going to cut big holes in it and wreck it. But if I want to put 6 screw holes in there, I will. And then if I ever take it down, you can buy little stickers, wood coloured stickers to cover it. Who's going to notice? And, you know, well, it's my van. Well, it's Heather's as well, but you know what I mean. I shall do what I like. Right, that's the bracket leg screwed on for this one. Heather's gone in now. I love her to bits, but she's an engineer and she measures things and stuff and calculates and that. And I'm a wing it and see. Admittedly, less things go wrong when she's here, but my way's fun. Right, so if I show you from underneath, there's some little locking tabs. That locks it onto the rail, so you can't knock it off. And obviously the leg adjusts up and down. And there you go. Little table, drinky, look at the world outside. And also a little bit of extra workspace if you're dishing up and that. Lovely. Right, so when it's flat packed, if you like, it goes like that. Leg folds down, there's a little button there to release it, and it locks. That's hopefully all gonna live along that wall where the other table used to be. You're gonna have to take out these original brackets here and put some new ones in and try and get both of them tables in that gap. Right, that's behind the driver's seat now. The pole is actually doing a good job of holding that up as well. You can see all good. The hardest part there was taking the original retaining brackets off, because they're obviously bolted to the cupboard door when the thing's being constructed, or with the seat out. You've got to have a really short screwdriver. What we got there. I'm going to put the other table up there. There we are then. That's the other table in there. All good. It does look like the seat won't move, but it actually does. I'll show you that. Right, you can see there with the seat fully back, the leg sits down the side there like that. It was a bit awkward getting into that corner one there, but we've managed it. And obviously they're not going to fall out because the seat's holding them. So when we get to site, we will just pull the seat full forward. Like I won't bother spinning this seat when we're on site, because obviously we'll sit at the back. And there you go. That's with the seat tilted forward, just so you can see. There you go, all good. Here we go. So another little job I want to do. When we got the van, we bought a dealer special, so you got loads of bits thrown in. Unfortunately, you couldn't delete the options. We don't do bikes. Maybe in the future we might. So yeah, I'm not going to take the bike carrier off, because obviously they've drilled the doors and stuff like that. But what I am going to do is take these things off, because I've already walked into them. We had a bike carrier on our last van and we put the spare wheel on it. But they're handy for hanging towels on and stuff like that. So I'm going to take these off. Right, so you pull the plastic cap off that was on there and loosen these. And then these end things, they just tap off and it slides off like that. Right, so that's off now. Caps are back on. There's the arms, and then, as I say, nice little towel holder. Right, so I don't know why you don't get a fire blanket or a fire extinguisher, certainly from this dealer with a van, but we've got a brand new fire extinguisher and a fire blanket, and I'm going to fit them on that bulkhead there, just above the sink. Heather's just cutting out this non-slip matting.
Just pass one of them rolls with the thingy.
Oh, hang on. Rolls with the thingy. There we go. Go on then.
If you go to caravan and camping shops or one of the shows and that sort of thing, and you see these and you think, what are they for? They're basically to non-stick mats for going inside the likes of drawers, maybe the cupboards we're going to see. But basically, you know, it's a trick that Rick picked up many years ago, and it does help to stop that rattle. I mean, we're never going to stop all the rattles, but if we can stop some of them by some cheap matting like this. We bought these 3 for $5 or something, was it, from the Peterborough show? No, they're not expensive, and all I'm doing at the moment is I'm just cutting them for the drawers. And then we'll just see where else we're going to put them. We're using material bags and that sort of thing, we probably won't need them in there where we're putting our clothes.
Is that on? Yeah, it's on. I can't see. There we go then. They're up there. All good. I stole this idea off of somebody on the Facebook page. Those of you watching this, by the way, there is a Facebook page for these Elddis and Compass CV vans. I shall now drop the link into that. Watch the screen below. Yeah, this is the winding handle for the awning, which they give you loose and you decide where you're going to bolt it. A lot of people have put theirs there and hang your kitchen roll on there while you're working, you know. Good enough idea for me. So I've pinched it. So first night in the van, we've ordered a takeaway and we're camping on the drive. There's Millie seeing what's going to be dropped.
I've already dropped something.
I can smell it. Here we go then.
Oh.
She's on the beer already. Look at that. There is pizza as well, but we can't fit it on the bowl. No idea why I'm so thin. It's a mystery. Hello, Millie.
She seems happy enough.
Yeah, she's found her spot.
Looks like
You won't be
somebody
able
else.
to, you won't be able to sleep there at night because the toilet door's there. Don't you know? Are you listening?
Somebody else has found her spot as well.
There's supposed to be a blanket there for you to sit on. That's not worked, has it? Oh, you're going to come on this side, aren't you? Yeah.